Hello, I'm Bradley James, and that was my thumb in the shop, and I'm standing outside of the Tricycle Theatre, and I'm about to talk about a very clever scheme called A Night Less Ordinary. So let's go in. The idea of the audience and the cast sort of giving that energy back and forth makes it a very interactive experience, because you can't really do that when you're watching something on screen, because the performance has already been given, the energy levels have been set, and it won't alter with regards to how the audience feels about it. When you're here, and the atmosphere that theatres create is all around you, it's just something. I'd like to avoid using the word magical, but I think that's kind of a very good word for it. I can't think of, there's a mystery to it, and no, let's go with it, magical. My earliest memory from the theatre was going to see a pantomime in Bath, and Aladdin said something like, "Oh, what's in that cave?" or something, and I'm a bit scared, I don't want to go in. And the audience was really quiet. And then a little voice that belonged to a 4-year-old went, "I'll go in there." And everyone turned around to the little voice, and my parents suddenly looked down to see me jumping up and down, going, I'll go in there. And I'd shouted out loud at a pantomime. And I'd obviously been that, sort of engrossed in the performance and the world that they had created, that I felt the need to rescue Aladdin from his peril and help him out by going in the dark cave. In typical actor fashion, there's a number of Shakespeare parts that people have written down, or in their mind. Straight away, I think Mercutio. Love to give that a go, and Richard III at some stage. I'm going to have to, get a few years behind me, but Richard III would be a lot of fun to play. There's numerous roles which, I've seen people perform and been very jealous of, and gone, I want to do that. Get off the stage. Give me the part. So hopefully in years to come, I'll get the opportunity to do that. If you're a guy and there's a girl out there you want to impress, take him to the theatre, I think, wow, he's so sophisticated, he must read books, he must be really clever. If you're a girl, you'll get a guy going, oh, what theatre, come on, just drag him along, because while outwardly he'll be going, I can't believe I'm here, watching a play, inwardly he'll be like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life, but I can't really admit to it, because I'll betray my manly exterior. So don't worry, girls. Take him to the theatre. He'll be pleased you did. He won't admit that he's pleased, but he'll enjoy himself. Arthur's just got that sense of wanting to help people, but without telling anyone about it, because let's not get all emotional about it. Let's just do what's right. And when it comes down to the crunch, he does what's right, because it's in those moments that his true character kind of shines through, the moments when he's really tested. And I think that's probably the best thing about him is in the crisis, he's kind of the man who you want to be helping you out. Before he becomes king, he needs to have an awareness that he doesn't have at the moment. I think that's very important, because I don't think people would accept him as a stupid king. You can only play him dumb for so long. For Arthur to find out about Merlin's magic, I think again it has to happen in a way that suggests that Arthur can think for himself. And I think by accident, and without Merlin knowing, I think Arthur has to witness something, or just have something click, so that he knows that before Merlin knows that he knows, and so that there's a time period where Arthur has to decide what to do.
This has to stop. The king would have your head if he found out. There's no point denying it.
Denying what?
Your affections for Lady Morgana.
right.
Take a bit of advice from someone who knows about women.
Well, if such a person existed, I would.
Stick to girls who are more, how can I put it, on your level.
Thanks.
She can't be your friend. But learn anything else.
Yeah, I know.
Can't hide anything from me, Melon.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Myself and Colin quite often go through lines, and quite often I do them in a David Bowie style. Because when I was younger, I used to watch the film The Labyrinth a lot. Whenever I went to my aunt and uncle's, they had a copy of The Labyrinth, and I loved that film. And I'd say lines like, Hoggle, if she kisses you, I'll throw you head first into the bog of eternal stench, or something. This terrible, terrible David Bowie impression from an 80s classic. And I often do my lines when we're repeating our lines in a very similar tra-la-la kind of way. I think this series has allowed me to continue with fighting scenes and also flex the acting muscles, as it were. What's happened this year is the fights have become, they've kind of stepped up a level and become a bit more detailed in a fight sense. Episode 12 this season, there's a bit of a fight sequence which I would have struggled with, I think, last year. This season they've started to stretch out Arthur's character a bit more, just sort of test Arthur a lot more, and you know, that's always enjoyable for an actor when you kind of, you know, you settle into a role and all of a sudden the boundaries are pushed and you find yourself going to new places with the character. And episode 8, in fact, is the first prime example of that, which includes that scene with Anthony. This scene was testing because it took out a big part of the day, and there was very sort of extreme emotions on both characters' parts, and certainly for Arthur, because his mum's dead, so it's a bit of a subject matter that has a lot of resonance with him.
Swear to me, it isn't true. You are not responsible for my mother's death. Give me your word.
I swear on my life, I loved your mother. There isn't a day passes that I don't wish that she was still alive. I could never have done anything to hurt her. My son, you mean more to me than anything. I'm sorry. You are not to blame.
When we first started doing the show, they gave myself and Colin these cameras, and I just kind of picked it up and started talking nonsense and, you know, filming. And it turned out that sort of things would happen, and I go, oh, I could actually film that. That might be relatively interesting to watch if someone's interested in the show. And I find myself kind of going through spells now where I'll go, oh, that will make an interesting little piece. Let's film Colin doing something stupid, or the pair of us singing You're the Voice by John Farnham, or something ridiculous.
Some nutter is giving out tickets for free, which doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, take advantage of it, because there aren't too many nutcases who give away free tickets for theatre, so get involved.